Hello and welcome to Hidden Magic Tarot. I'm Nancy. This video is part of my 2026 deck collection series. I am sharing my entire collection of tarot, oracle, Lenormand, and playing cards. This video will have all of my indie tarot decks in it. I will put links in the description for these decks as long as they're still available. I'll put a link in the description. It's really important to support the creators of these decks and not go out and get counterfeit versions. So I will put the links below. Let's get started. I thought I would start with a historical reproduction. This is I Naibi di Giovanni Vacchetta. It's from Il Meneghello, and it is a colorized reproduction of a very old deck. These are the backs. It's the gorgeous, gorgeous cardstock from Il Meneghello. It's my only Il Meneghello deck, and I am taken with it. This is a deck that was one of the first sort of illustrated pip decks, and not illustrated in the way of like the RWS, right? But to have these illustrations, these little scenes in the pips was apparently new at the time. And my understanding is when this deck first came out, it was not this colorful. Il Meneghello used watercolor to sort of colorize it. And I think it is so, so beautiful. All of the names, all the titles are in Italian. And I'm just so taken with this deck. It's really lovely. The deck is smaller than your standard kind of modern size, so but very thick because it's that kind of handmade deck. I think the art is absolutely lovely. I primarily read Rider-Waite-Smith. Those are the meanings I know, so those are the meanings I apply to decks, even if they're not RWS decks. Don't be mad, that's how I do it. It works just fine. So I just apply, using the title, I just apply the meaning, but then you can also use these illustrations to add another little layer to the reading you're doing. I just think it's really a wonderful deck. I can't stop looking at it. And the feel of this cardstock, I don't know if it's like, is it got a foam core or something? It's like bouncy, I don't know. Just a wonderful, wonderful deck. That is, again, I Naibi di Giovanni Vacchetta from Il Meneghello. I have two sizes of the Sasuraibito. I've got the regular size and the mini. I'll just show you the regular size, but one thing I'll say, the cardstock on this mini is so nice. I really, really love it. So you may have seen this deck. It's been around for a while. It is beloved. The illustrations are so fantastic. And the cardstock is really nice. I can't remember what version of this it is, but it's this nice kind of slippy matte finish, which I just really adore. Oh, I love this Fool. I love that the Fool could be an older person. Let's never forget to have our innocence, to take our risks. Doesn't matter whether you're young or old. If you've been around TarotTube, I'm sure you've seen this deck. It's really popular. People really love it. I see why. It's easy to read with, beautiful art, really interesting interpretations. So some follow along with RWS and others are really, really new. I like seeing the magician as like a modern magician that you might see if you went to a show. Fantastic representations, beautiful color. Here's one that's a little bit different as far as judgment is concerned. This feels like someone who's enveloped. This is almost gives hermit to me, but it's judgment. There's one card in here that knocked my socks off. Let me see if I can find it. It's the 8 of Cups. Here it is. I feel like this really represents what 8 of Cups is all about. That moment of leaving, that moment of almost choosing to bring a tower moment upon yourself, and that act of cutting your hair. I think that cutting your hair just represents moving from one person into the next person. You are changing, and so cutting your hair is just a really beautiful way to do it, and I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous depiction. All right, that is the Sasuraibito Tarot. Probably easy to read on the guidebook. This is the Magical Nature Tarot. This is such a cool deck. My understanding is that this is all hand cut collage, but beyond that, the artist dyed the paper themselves and used natural dyes for it. So it's all like earth magic, right? Brought from the earth. And it's a gorgeous deck. I love the depictions of the cards. I think they give you a new way of seeing things. Because it's paper collage, I think we get a really interesting, you know, art style that we don't see in a lot of decks. And I appreciate it. Oh, I should mention, let me go back to this one. The quartz are renamed, and I wrote them down here because I have a hard time remembering them. Seeker is Page, Apprentice is Knight, Ancestor is Queen, and Mentor is King. So this would be the Knight of Swords. Isn't this lovely? And it's printed on, is it called like Eco cardstock? It's tremendously nice to shuffle. It feels soft in the hand. This is just a really nice deck. Oh, here's a Mentor. So this is the King of Wands. Yeah, really, really beautiful deck. Really, really beautiful. And again, that is the Magical Nature Tarot. For another nature deck, we'll look at the Forager's Daughter Tarot. This deck is so beautiful. I can't tell you how gorgeous it is, but I don't read with it. I've really struggled to use it in readings, and I cannot figure out why, because I'm in love with this art. It's so, so beautiful. It may be that I don't really know the associations of like the flowers and the animals. I did buy the guidebook that goes along with it, which is a big, beautiful book, but I just really have struggled to use this in readings. I do pull it out sometimes just to look at it and learn more about cards, because it is a new, you know, version of like understanding what these cards could mean. Like I love this with the Eight of Pentacles, with the worker bees just working away. But I really do sort of struggle. It could be maybe the muted color palette. As my eyes get older, it's harder for me to kind of tell what I'm looking at. And this gorgeous font here is getting harder for me to read too. Just, you know, older eyes, poor eyesight. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. I do like to keep it, even if I'm not reading from it. I do a really deep practice with my personal tarot card of the year every year, where I develop a theme, a yearly theme based on the card, and then I work with it throughout the year with monthly readings, weekly, daily readings. So, for example, I would take the Lovers card or the Wheel of Fortune card. If the Lovers was my card of the year, I'd go through all of my collection. I would take out all of my Lovers cards, and I lay them out. And I look at them to see if there's new perspective, expanded meanings, just a new way to look at the cards and to spark my sense of the energies I'm working with for the year. And so decks like this, I like to keep them, even if I'm not reading with them, I like to keep them to have a really different version of that card to look at. So many of my decks are RWS based, and so they're the same depiction, especially in the majors. And so it's really nice for me, for example, if it was a Chariot year, I think that really offers a lot in expanding my understanding of the card. So even though I don't read with it, I cannot imagine, you know, getting rid of this deck. It's so, so beautiful and really just a pleasure to look at. Again, that is the Forager's Daughter Tarot. This is one of my favorite decks. It's one of the first indie decks I bought, actually. This is the Kei Love Tarot, another kind of nature-based deck. Before we get into the cards, this is the tiniest guidebook, and it is so wonderful. I read it every time I do a reading with this deck. I don't normally pull out guidebooks when I'm reading, but what I'll do is I read, you know, I do the reading, and then I always pull it out and look up the cards, because it's these tiny little poems, and they just really pack a punch, and they often offer a new way to look at the card. So if you get this deck, don't dismiss that guidebook. These are quite large cards, quite thick. It is a little hard for me to handle the deck with my tiny hands, but I put up with it because I love it so much. This is a really abstract deck, but you can see it brings in a lot of nature. To me, it is a totally different way of looking at tarot. It gives me new perspectives. It gives me new ideas about the cards. I almost just read it looking at the pictures and going with the feelings that the art evokes in me. That's kind of where I start with it, and then look at the title and start to think of my keyword meanings and what I already know of these cards. But they really do push my thinking about the cards themselves. And these, I think, must be based on multimedia. Let me see if I can find one. Right, like this, I don't know if you can tell, but like this is glitter. So maybe the artist, I don't know if they just did high quality photographs or if they scanned it in. I think this is maybe a piece of wallpaper and then more glitter down here. And there's even here, you can see this is like a piece of fur for their hat. So just so much to look at, really cool deck. I really love this one, and I reach for it a lot. It's a great deck for my introspective readings. I wouldn't say I use it very much with clients, but I use it a lot for myself. And again, this is the Kei Love Tarot. Let's do an animal tarot. This is the TaRat. I used to have pet rats, which are wonderful little pets, actually. Don't judge it. These are small-sized cards, which I really like. I think these must be maybe poker size, maybe bridge, I don't know. But every card has a rat, and it's like this little rat going through his story, this little white rat, making his way in the world, going through the gauntlet, dealing with the things he has to deal with. This is another deck that I have to tell you I don't read with very much. I just have it because I loved my little rats. They were wonderful pets. They're like little puppies. They're so endearing. And so I got this deck after the last one had passed. And so I kind of keep it as a memory of them. I just pull it out sometimes. I don't think, you know, a deck like this is not going to give me kind of new perspective on tarot, but it's just enjoyable. It would be easy to read with. So if you too know the wonderful, the joys of having pet rats, this is a pretty cute deck. And that is the TaRat. Let me show you my one and only like pop culture fan deck. This is the Unofficial Schitty Tarot, which is based on the TV show Schitt's Creek. And this deck is done with such care. I can't believe it. So here's the Rose for Rose Apothecary, which is of course their last name. Warmest regards, best wishes, which are a very funny thing Stevie says. Oh, let me show you inside. It's hard to tell because it's pretty low color contrast, but there's like a spiral of crows on the inside. The star, which I think is just a nod to the cabaret. The motel on the back. Right? It has a nice, you know, guidebook. Pretty expected guidebook. Rose gold on the sides, right, for the Rose family. The backs show the Rose Apothecary and best wishes, warmest regards along the sides, and then handcrafted with care. And it just takes scenes from the show, and the choices are perfection. And again, another indie deck that I bought, and I rarely read with, but I keep it because this show meant a lot to me. I really love it, and I think this deck is genius. So if there's someone in my life who really loves Schitt's Creek, and I do have a few people, if they ask for a reading, I would pull it out for them. It's going to be most effective if you and the other person both know the show. I just don't pull it out very much, but it's really a great choices went into it. And so when I see these scenes, it helps me sort of take a new perspective on the cards sometimes too. I think it's really interesting how they decided, like, this is so clever, like friends playing and neighbors playing against each other, trying to win. Oh, the Three of Swords for that card, right? It's just really tremendously good, really well thought out. I think that if you're a fan of Schitt's Creek, this would be worth the buy. This, it's just a delight. Sometimes I just take it out and I flip through it because I like it so much. Again, this is the Unofficial Schitty Tarot, the Pulp Tarot. This is one of my absolute favorite decks. It is consistently in my top 5 most used decks of the year, and usually number 1. The box is so cute. It's like a novel, right? And all this art is meant to kind of look like vintage pulp novels. I think it's collage, digital collage. This is an indie deck at a mass market price too. So I will put the link below where you can find it on Tad Elcott's shop. The depictions are genius. I love this deck. I think it's a really balanced deck. I like reading for myself and for clients with this one. One of the things that I really appreciate is for the suits, he has sort of like a typography and a style for the title. You can see the swords all look like that. Cups is this, wands there. Let's see if I can find another. And then there's pentacles all look like this. But they're meant to look like the cover of pulp novels. It depicts the meanings. It's RWS, but it's just such beautiful, fantastic art. And you get the idea of what the novel might be about that's telling this story. I think it's just tremendous. Queen of Swords is Joan of Arc. Amazing. This is truly one of my favorites. I can't say enough about it. I love Six of Cups looking like an old vintage children's book. The thought, the care that went into this, and even like on the edges, it looks like, you know, the dust jacket has been worn away on some of them. And the majors are numbered. The majors are numbered like it's a series. This card is genius. I love all these cards, frankly. There isn't a dud in the bunch. It's a tremendously, tremendously good deck. And cute backs too. Again, this is the Pulp Tarot. This is the Delos Tarot, the original borderless edition. So this is one of their most recent ones. My understanding is it was out of print for a while and then came back into print with this version. And the art is super cute. I love the like long legs on everybody. Very sweet art. I cannot believe I'm going to say this again, but I don't read with it very much. There are so many decks in my collection that I bought because I was really taken by them. And then once I got them in my hands, I just found that I wasn't as drawn to them as I thought, or like I read with them for a short amount of time and then I just was kind of done with them. And I think this is a deck that falls into that category. It's partly, honestly, because of the cardstock. It's just art paper. It's very, very thin, so kind of have to be really careful when you shuffle it. I do like the smaller size of the cards. That suits me really well. But I think I just went through a phase where I was really interested in these like cutesy decks, and I'm just finding that they don't stand the test of time for me. Like, I think this art is really adorable. And I think maybe there was a little bit of scarcity mindset. Like I felt like I had to get it because it had been out of print. So I'm glad I have it. It's not like I regret having these decks. I will pull them out a couple times a year to read with them. Whereas some of my other decks, they're out every week. So that's what I mean by like rarely reading with them. But isn't it great though? I do think it's adorable. I just find that my kind of cutesier decks don't last as long for me. They don't feel quite as versatile for me. So I think I just don't reach for them quite as much, though I do love it. And again, this is the Delos Tarot. Let's look at a deck I read with constantly. I have 2 versions of the same deck. This is Earth Magic. One is a sepia toned version and one is like a full color version. So I got the sepia tone version as a gift, and within a couple weeks found out that they also had the colored version. So I'll show you this one first. Maybe this isn't sepia. I don't really know, but like you get the idea. It's just really like limited color palette. But I love the art. I think it's so cool. It's a little bit historic and it's a little bit sci-fi. And I find that so nice to read with. you'll see the basic interpretation with RWS, right? We've got 6 swords in a boat. We've got, you know, the 4 of Cups. 1 is being offered. Then the other 3 are down here, right? We get the idea. But then sometimes they're also just straight up pips without much of a story. Though if I know that this is 7 of Coins, 7 of Pentacles, I know what the story is behind that. So it is a slight departure, but enough that I don't struggle to read this right out of the box. Let me show you the color version. This version has absolutely overtaken the other one in how much I use it. And frankly, I cannot put it down. I love this deck. I cannot get enough of it. It is a little bit larger than most, which is hard for me with my tiny hands, but I don't care. I will put up with that. It's also on linen cardstock, which makes it easy to work with. Isn't this amazing? I really find this style, this art style, to be really fun to read with, and I get lots of new ideas about the cards from this. The Sun, I can't stand it. This is what I mean where it seems a little historical or, you know, almost fairy tale, folk tale, but then also sci-fi. I think it's a fabulous, fabulous deck. I love the Scorpion in that. These colors are gorgeous. I find this deck to be very easy to read with, very easy to interpret. There's a lot there. I find something new every time I look at it. This is another deck I'm so glad I have for my card of the year work, because look at that Chariot. There's so much to offer in that Chariot. So yeah, I'll just gush about this deck forever because I adore it. Again, this is Earth Magic, and there's 2 versions. There's like the limited color palette version and the colored version. This is the Secret Garden. This was a Kickstarter that I had seen on Instagram years ago, seen some initial cards for it. And as soon as that Kickstarter came available, I pledged, and I'm so excited to have it in my hands. Here's the backs. Linen cardstock, really, really beautiful. And just striking on this black background. Lovely, lovely art. And the people I've shown this to have asked me if it's generative AI. It is not. Per the artist, it is not. And I think that aligns with how long ago I saw the images, the initial images on Instagram. But this is the sort of thing that, like, artists who make this art, I think, are really suffering because we're all doubting them now. There are some interpretations of the cards here that I'm not totally in love with. Like, this is 8 of Cups, and it makes it look like I'm walking towards the cups, which is opposite of how I interpret that card. But I also can make do with that. That's fine. I think the art is just gorgeous. It's meant to look like, you know, medieval or Renaissance. I can't remember. I find it absolutely beautiful. Like, this just looks so much like a tapestry. Ah, it's just fabulous. So, 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 so pretty. I love the black background. It's a delightful shuffle. I think very easy to read with. I'm really, really happy with this deck. And they are, the artist is selling it. So you didn't miss out if you missed the Kickstarter, and I'll have the link below. I love this dress. So, so lovely. There's really only, let me see if I can find, there's like 1 or 2 cards that I think are really going to be confusing to me. Like this, I don't love this one because they're looking away from all of the cups, but again, that's fine. That's fine. This one. This is the 5 of Swords, but to me, on first glance, it looks like the 2, just because there are only 2 swords in the picture, and because of how they're holding the swords, that's where it's going to be a little, it's going to trip me up in readings, I think. And there's one more that I think will trip me up. Oh, let me show you this gorgeous Chariot while I'm on my way there. This one I think will also trip me up in readings. This is Temperance. But because it's an angel with the horn, I think it's Judgment on first glance. So this interpretation may trip me up in readings, but I forgive it because I think the art is so gorgeous. Again, this is the Secret Garden Tarot. This is the Echo Tarot, the blueberry edition. There's 3 colorways. There's this one, there's the strawberry edition, which is red and pink, and then there's another edition that I don't know the name, but it's like this kind of cream and grayscale. I got this on a Game Crafter, and the link will be below. As you can see, this is a smaller size. It is probably poker size, I'm not really sure. You get the tarot, which is this part, but you also get the zodiac signs. So might be fun. I'm going to take them out. I've mentioned it in other decks. I always just take the extra cards out and I just keep them. This deck is, my understanding is that it is made to look like lino cut, but it is a digital, like a digitally drawn deck. And I just adore it. Oh, this death card is so good. I love the skulls as, you know, part of the roots and the plant beginning to grow above, and you can still see the earth, you know, above ground. Really beautiful. As you can see, instead of wands, we have candles. And the pips are, I would say they're illustrated. They've got a story to them. Like, for example, if you know the meaning of the Two of Cups, it's often about love, about intimate relationships. I love that we've got a lock and a key as the decorations on these mugs. So it gives you plenty of clues as to what it is, even though there's no people. You'll also notice the naming convention. We just have a 2 here, and then we know it's cups. Here, there's just the Roman numeral 9. The courts are, as you would imagine, more illustrated. There are people in the courts, and there are people in most of the majors. Here's our swords. Here's another example of the symbolism of the card kind of matching up to what you would see in a like Rider-Waite-Smith or a clone. So it's got little clues to the meanings. They're not just, you know, your regular pips. And I really, really like this style. I love these colors. I actually just got this deck today, and I'm kind of sneaking it into the video before I, you know, publish it. And I like it so much, I'm already considering just getting the other colors of this deck. This Temperance is so good. It is so simple. We've got the chalices, which we usually see. We've got fire and water. They're tempering one another. We've got the sun and the moon. Absolutely gorgeous. I think it's just a really well thought out deck. Let me see if I can find you. Oh, here's the Pentacles. I'll show you some more once we get there. Okay, good. Here's some of the majors. There's the Hanged Man. And let me see if I can't show you. We haven't seen very many Pentacles yet, so let me see if I can't get you here. So the Pentacles are decorated sort of depending on the meaning of the card. So here we have the 7, and so the Pentacles are all different like leaves. Okay, let me get you another one. Oh, I really like this Justice as well, that it's a cairn, but I think it kind of gives the look of a person. Really, really neat. Okay, let me just get you one more Pentacle. There's our Ace. Some of them, when I first looked at them, this one, you know, this is the 8 of Cups, and I just really wasn't sure about it because we're used to seeing it depicted as somebody leaving, right? So something about leaving. But then I realized that a bunch of these cups are actually upside down. They're poured out. So that started to make more sense to me. Okay, here's another example of the Pentacles. So as you can see, they're not all decorated the same. The inside of the coin is part of the story. So here's our 8 of Pentacles, which is about like mastery and hard work. And here we have worker bees in their hive. Just an absolutely gorgeous deck and really cleverly planned and drawn. I think it's really beautiful. In case it's not coming through, because I thought it was going to be a lighter background. I thought it was going to be almost white. This is a kind of a cream background and then a blue, illustration. And the artist even made it look like, you know, the ink wasn't completely on the lino cut when they printed it, right? So they've built in a lot of really beautiful touches. This Judgment is so great. Yep, well, I'm taken. I adore it. And once again, this is Echo Tarot. Here's the Spacious Tarot. You've probably seen this one. This one has been out for a long time and is a very beloved deck. Here's the backs. I love this deck. It is really fun to read with. It's all kind of landscape and nature pictures. And they do tell a beautiful story, though, when you look at them, right? There are things about it that are similar to what you'd see in an RWS, which I talk about RWS a lot because I mostly buy RWS decks because that is the system I know. I really like how much space the Spacious Tarot gives us in our readings because there are no people, and it's not just animals, right? It's nature, it's the world. And I think that it really helps me think about these cards in a different way when I'm reading about such human things, to look at cards like these and be kind of out in the world with them, I think really helps. There's something about this one where I don't really feel like I'm looking at it. I'm in it. Like here for this star, because I can see the tops of the trees, it feels like I'm in the card. I feel like I'm in the field, in the prairie. So it's a beautiful, beautiful deck. It's no wonder everybody loves it. It's also a little smaller size, which I really like. And again, that is the Spacious Tarot. The Tarot of Oneness is another deck that feels like you're in the card, but specifically was made for that. This deck puts you in first-person point of view. You are not watching a scene play out, you are in the scene. So here's Eight of Cups. You are holding those scissors. You are cutting that final chord. You are calling it done. Here's the High Priestess, and you are the High Priestess. You are sitting. Here's the like veils, right? But it's got all the symbolism we're used to. There's a scroll, the two colored veils or pillars, the moon. Here's the Five of Pentacles. Those are your feet. Those are your feet, right? So these are beautiful depictions. Here are Two of Swords. Which door do I go through? I think they're gorgeous. This deck also has extra cards. And I have to confess, I take out extra cards. I just want my tarot to be a tarot. But with this one, I only use this deck for readings for myself. I don't read for other people with this by choice. So I left the extra cards in because I don't mind pulling out the guidebook if I can't remember what the extra cards mean. Normally in a reading with somebody else, I would never, pull out the guidebook, with the exception of the Kei Tarot. But I just warn people that that's what I'm doing. The courts are also renamed. Inspiration is, I always forget. I think inspiration is the pages. Let me look. Yes. So inspiration is page. Action is knight, that's easy to remember. Spirit is queen, and embodiment is king. I mostly use this deck for self-knowledge, self-development, growth, kind of inner awareness. I love that it puts me right in the card, right in the scene. There's also a couple lovers cards, so you can choose the one you want or leave them both in. Judgment has been renamed Awakening. It's a beautiful deck. I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen a lot of like Tarot Tube, but it is, it's well loved for a reason. It's a fantastic, fantastic deck. Again, that is Tarot of Oneness. This is Tarot of the Crystal World. I love this deck. Do I say that about all of them? I probably do. The reason I have them is because I love them. Here's the backs. This is a really fun deck. I find the art to be like really, really beautiful, but also odd. And so it's kind of arresting to me. I also really like some depictions in here. Like I think this is Joan of Arc. There's a Monty Python's Holy Grail reference in here, I think, too. You'll see that the titles are very simple. They just have king, and then you're to know it's the pentacles, or for the majors, it's just the Roman numeral. But very cool art. Oh, and this is a reference to, I should look it up. Marcia. I should look it up, but I think that this is also a reference. There's some pop culture reference here, references throughout. Not very many, but they are fun when you see them. This one's interesting to me just because of how active it is and how you're like under the horse. So there's some really interesting approaches to these cards, I think. And there's something about the faces and the eyes that I feel a little bit off balance when I read with this deck. a little bit mentally off balance, which is nice. Maybe I don't want that every day and all the time, but I do think it's a really interesting feature of using this deck because the art is kind of arresting to me. And so it makes me really pay attention to what I'm looking at. And I really like that. I want to find, let me just see if I can find that knight who I think is so silly. I just love him. This guy. He looks so much like the knights in Monty Python's Holy Grail, and it makes me so happy every time I see him. And again, that is the Tarot of the Crystal World. This is Dark Days. This was one of the first indie decks I bought for myself. I saw this art and I lost my mind. Square deck, as you can see. Really interesting. The minors have a black background and the majors have white, so you can easily see what you're looking at there. It's all these very like dainty, almost fragile lines. So much movement in these cards. Like here, I love this too. Like her legs are swords, and this moon is a sword. I do struggle a little with the square decks. I often don't buy them anymore because I struggle to manage this. There's something about it. But I think the art is so beautiful and the depictions are so beautiful. Like here it's a potluck for the Six of Pentacles. What a beautiful representation of that card. There's people in most of them, but not all. I also love that devil and this fool. And with the moon phases, there's just so much to get from this art, so much to think about when you pull these cards. I think this is a tremendous deck. I've read with it a lot for about 6 years now. I find it's just a fantastic deck. I really like pulling this out for readings for myself more than for other people. I feel so connected to this deck. And because I feel so connected, I think that it almost feels personal. I do read for other people, but I really pull this out with my self-development work, my self-love work. It's a great deck for anything, to be honest, but I find it to be a very, very special deck. And again, that is Dark Days. Let's look at Pagan Otherworlds. This is another deck that is very frequently shown on TarotTube. Very popular deck, gorgeous deck. I love the depictions of the courts, especially in this deck. And I think the pips, the numbered minors, are really, really very special because they're sort of scenic. This is the 10 of Wands, which is usually a bundle on somebody's back. And so you see how they've got it all bundled up. 9 of Swords in a pretty typical fashion, how we would see. And then we have a swan that's chained. So in the depiction of the pips, there's a little story being told, and I find that makes it very easy to read with. Your typical 3 of Swords. For example, here we've got the 10 of Swords, which is in a more, I don't know, I think it's trying to look kind of like a historical layout, but we've got a skull at the bottom, right? So that to me, it's like, I know what this means. The pips are really clever. Like here we've got the 7 of Wands, we've got one standing and all these other ones kind of coming at it. It's very, very cleverly done. We've got the blindfold from the 2 of Swords. So they're pips, but they have a bit of a story behind them. So I honestly think if you are someone who is trying to get into reading pips, this might be a good crossover deck for you, because they show enough of the story, enough of the kind of keywords, enough of the main idea of the pips. I think this would be a great one to get started with. Anyway, great deck. You've seen it 1,000 times. This is Pagan Otherworlds. These two are both by the same creator, so I'll do these back to back. This is the Black Lily and the Wind Rose. I say Wind Rose, but could be Wind Rose. I'm not exactly sure. So the Black Lily is a smaller deck, poker size, I think. So really nice to hold, really nice to use. Amazing art. This is another one that I usually only read for myself with this one because I think that this art is very challenging for me. And I like challenging, but if I'm going to be challenged by the art, if I'm going to have a hard time interpreting it, or if it's going to be showing me a really different version than I'm expecting. Until I know this deck really well, I'm not going to read for clients with it. I also find some of the art just challenging to look at, just the style of the artist. And so this feels like a more personal deck for me. I like reading with it, but it's definitely one where I have to think about the cards a lot more. So when I'm reading for other people, I tend to use ones that I don't have to think about quite as much. But this is a really cool deck. I really like the art, really like the depictions. Okay, the other one by this creator, this is Windrose. And I picked up this deck when I bought the Black Lily. I was really drawn to it because it's a crossover between playing cards and tarot. So obviously tarot is playing cards, right? But it's the English playing cards. So we're used to, in the United States, hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. But like Italian and Spanish playing cards are wands, cups, swords, and coins or pentacles. So the tarot suits are usually the suits used in Mediterranean decks, where this one is using the playing cards I'm accustomed to and adding the major arcana, plus it's illustrated. So anyway, I thought this would be a fun deck to try to get my mind around. And it was more than I bargained for. So you can see I had to put a little number in the corner. This is obviously hearts, which is the cups. So, but I counted them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But when I look at the art and I lay out all of the suit of hearts, this is the 9. So by meaning, this is the 9. And then we've got jacks instead of knights. And then I do think we have pages. I have to look. I haven't done the study that I want to do on this deck, but I'm taken with it. Clubs are wands, and again, this is 10 clubs, but it's the 8, right? The speed of the bird ready to take off. So when I laid out the suits and I looked at the meanings, I did have to write down what they were. And then you see here the majors just have the Roman numeral, which is fairly typical. Diamonds are pentacles. So this is the 4, even though there are 6 diamonds, it is the 4 if we're going by meaning. And this is an ace, even though there's 3 hearts. This is the ace of cups. And then spades are swords, and this is the 5. So, oh yeah, here's the page. So it's both playing cards in that it's got the suits we're used to, but there's a page, a knight, a queen, and a king, and usually in playing cards, there's only 3 courts. So it's a mashup of tarot and the playing cards I grew up using. So I really, really like it, but it is going to take some study for me. It's going to take a deck study. And I'm really glad I decided to write down what it means because I can't count them. They're not in any order. And, you know, so it's a lot to look at and something that I definitely need to dive into a little bit more. So that is the Windrose. We'll do another one that's a mashup of playing cards and tarot. This is Cowboix Hevven. These are poker and tarot playing cards. And this is from the Meow Wolf Art Museum. There's the backs, typical playing card size. And you see here that we have the suits, right? The typical kind of English suits. So here's a club, but it's so tiny. Can you see there's like a cigarette in there, like a lit one? And it's all cowboys, right? So here, this was the 6 of Wands in tarot. Here's the 3 of Cups. So you see that it's got the heart, but they've also put a tiny cup on the inside. And then they've illustrated it. And you also see that it allows for reversals, where normally in playing cards that I'm used to seeing, they are pips, where these are illustrated. Here is spades, which would be swords, but it's darts, right? Because they're at like a bar, like a cowboy bar, I think is the setting of this. So it's darts. This would be the 3. You see he's got his little heart hoodie, but he's got 3 in there. And then they also have a set of majors. So they're all, the majors I think all have the horseshoe for the like suit, not really a suit, but, and then they're all these little depictions that you might see in a, like here's Queen of Spades, which is swords, which is darts. You see, it's layered, but you know, singing at the bar. So, you know, everybody's in their cowboy outfits, and the courts are reversible, but the numbered pips are not, the numbered minors. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this idea of these mashups between English playing cards, not Spanish or Italian playing cards, and then also these having the majors in there. So you could just take the majors out. There are no pages in this one, so you could take the majors out and just use them as playing cards as well. Again, that is Cowboix Hevven. This little deck is Wonder Water, also playing card size, but a tarot deck. And this one is a mystery to me. I got it on Make Playing Cards. I love the art. It looks to me like watercolor collage, and it's pretty much straight up RWS, so easy to read from, but it's smaller size, and I find the meanings just easy to grasp. Even if there aren't two people there, I know what's happening, right? These are all the symbolism we would be accustomed to in a Two of Pentacles. But it does look like maybe hand-painted pieces or found pieces. Maybe these pomegranates were found and collaged in, but some of it is also painted. It's a really interesting deck. I keep this one at my work desk just because it's small. And the cardstock is nice. It's like that linen playing cardstock, so it's nice to shuffle. This, I think, is quite a cool deck. Interesting depictions, just another, art, a different way of seeing them, even though they're not particularly different. It's not a departure from the RWS meanings, but it's a updated look and an interesting approach. And it just came in a plain white tuck box, so that's why it lives in my tiny little bag. But this is the Wonder Water. This is the Lazy Crow Tarot. This one has some really cute art. It's very simple. Oh, here, those are the backs. Kind of simple art. I don't know what the art style would be, but I love the body shape. I love the playing around with proportions. One thing I'm not in love with, though, is the naming. So I have found this one hard to read with. So this is a queen and Queen of Cups. So this is a major. This is the 4, because if it were a king, it would have a slightly different, let me see if I can find him. Oh no, this isn't a major. Sorry, this is the 4 of Pentacles, because the majors have these really big numbers. And then this is what the kings, no, that's a queen. Do you see? I really struggle with it. So let me go back so you can see more of the art. But the naming is tricky for me. But I think the art is wonderful. And if I really just pay attention to what I'm seeing in the art, then the naming isn't a problem. These are not a huge departure from what we're used to with Rider-Waite-Smith. So that is, if I just focus on what I'm seeing in the art, then all is well. I love how this artist plays with the lines and the shape. Oh, it's just fantastic. And the different proportions are really nice. Some diversity around skin color, which is always appreciated. I really do appreciate that in a deck where people are taking into account the way the world really looks. Look at that. I love him. I love him so much. Yeah, this is really cool art. Very stylized, fun to look at. Easy to use deck as far as the cardstock is concerned, the size of the cards, the thickness of the cards. Really, really a lovely, fun little deck. And again, that is the Lazy Crow. This is the Art of Adventure Tarot. I do like keeping it in this little bag just because my box came with some glue still on the inside and I don't want to damage the cards because I love this deck so much. Cute little edges there. This art, oh man, so kind of cartoony, really stylized, like aliens. I just don't know how to describe it. Real funky, like this maybe modern, I love her, right? So she's sticking things up on the wall, but it's these symbols we recognize, the B, the J, the Torah with just T-O-R-A. She's sticking pomegranates, a moon party. She's advertising a moon party. She's a nun. What are these sunglasses? There's, in the background, there's the crown that we usually see in Rider-Waite-Smith, more pomegranates. So it's filled with symbolism, robots, these little hairy legs, which I just love. Oh, these like bendy legs you see wrapped around his throne. There's some where like pieces of the body are like not attached the way they're supposed to be. For example, this. I think this deck is so wonderful and I love to read with it. I read with it for myself, for other people. I just find it to be a tremendous approach to looking at tarot. Love this guy, love his nose. Honest to God, can't get enough of it. I think it's a really, really wonderful deck. It seems that the weirder the art, the happier I am sometimes, and this fits into that for sure. Even though for the most part the meanings are very recognizable. Again, if you know the Rider-Waite system, you would not have any trouble reading with this deck. This is the Art of Adventure Tarot. That is all of my indie tarot decks. I'm also doing videos for my mass market tarot, my vintage tarot, my indie oracle, my mass market oracle, my Lenormand, and all of my playing cards. So stop back to see some more of the collection. Please subscribe. I'd love to build up my subscriptions out here, and like this video if you liked it. Let me know in the comments below if you've got these decks, if you're drawn to any of them, if you've got questions on any of them. Let me know. I'm happy to answer, and thanks for stopping by. Bye!